My name is Yuka. I'm from Shimane University.
I'm Marin. I'm from Michigan State University.
I'm Demizu. I'm from Shimane University.
I'm Lexi. I'm from Michigan State University.
And I'm Juliet, and I'm from Michigan State University.
Our hypothesis has 3 main points that complement each other.
The 3 main points are
American culture does not like change, so Americans do not want to travel to an unfamiliar place.
When we study abroad, we want to go somewhere that we think is a vacation, where we can relax.
Americans tend to have a stereotypical view of Japan, which doesn't exactly match up to what Japan is really like. In the survey, we used a few written response questions, but for most of the questions, we used the Likert scale. For this scale, we did 1 is strongly disagree and 5 is strongly agree. We asked students if they followed a daily routine that does not vary much between the days. According to the graph, most Americans agreed that they tend to follow a daily routine that doesn't change very much. Almost nobody disagreed with this statement.
we asked if students would be comfortable traveling abroad. According to this graph, most people said they would agree to be comfortable traveling abroad. 19 out of 24 students, or 80%, said they would be comfortable traveling abroad.
We asked students if they would be completely ready to dive in and immerse themselves and interact with people of a completely different culture. Most students agreed that they would be ready to immerse themselves in a completely new culture.
We asked students if they would be more comfortable traveling somewhere other than Japan. Most students said they could find somewhere else to go with less of a cultural difference.
Next, we asked students if they would be in culture shock or feel lost in Japan. 75% of people agreed.
Last, we asked students if they would feel comfortable traveling abroad to Japan. Only 7 agreed, 6 were neutral, and 11 disagreed. Mostly everyone said that they would travel abroad, but lots of students did not want to go to Japan.
After analyzing our data, we came up with specific conclusions that supported our hypothesis. We gathered that many students said they would go anywhere to study, but they were turned off at the idea of Japan. The whole purpose of studying abroad is to try new things and step out of your comfort zone, but so many students didn't want to go to Japan.
Because Americans like things that are familiar to them. Students said they wanted to travel to places similar to America, like Europe, Australia, and Italy.
It was interesting to see students contradict themselves when they were taking the survey. They were closed-minded to the idea of traveling abroad, but in going out of their comfort zone, which is the whole idea of studying abroad.
From our analysis, it is clear that most people still tell Japan.
The stereotypes that most Americans have of Japan cause them to not want to travel there. Americans have a completely different view of Japan than the Japanese people have of Japan.
Here is a quick visual that demonstrates our understandings of our concepts that we found. Okay, so we put together this poster to demonstrate how we feel Americans perceive Japan and how Japanese people perceive Japan. And we displayed pictures here to show, and then we had our data here at the bottom.
Okay, so Americans tend to have a stereotypical view of Japan. Down here we define stereotype as a widely held but fixed image of a particular group of people or a thing. So according to the survey, when Americans think of Japan, we think of pollution, video games, crowded areas, those masks, different foods that we're not used to, technology, anime, and more pollution.
When Japanese people think of Japan, landscape, it meets Fuji, karaoke, culture, city, classroom, it's Shimane University, and sports, it's judo.
Obviously, the two different cultures have a very different view of Japan.
We asked 28 students to pick 2 pictures that reminded them of Japan.
The answers lean towards the Americans' stereotypical belief of Japan. So we gave them 4 pictures to choose from. 2 were stereotypical, and 2 were the Japanese perceptions, and 86% of the students picked the American stereotypical of Japan.
Our first recommendation is that Michigan State University will hand out a survey regarding cultural comfort zones to all GCP students to see where they feel most comfortable traveling abroad and where they feel least comfortable traveling abroad. And based on those results, then Michigan State University will place the individual student in the place where they think that they would grow and experience the most cultural diversity so that they get used to it.
We've shown Mary, Lexi, Juliet what Japan is truly like so they don't stereotype Japan anymore. If they share their experience with others, they can change other people's minds.
Another recommendation that MSU can do is they can hold a required seminar for all study abroad students. It showcases all the options and the agenda for each trip. So students don't really have the preconceived stereotypes. They can just see what they'll be doing on their study abroad trip.
We get so much fun with MSU students. Yeah!
We all learned so much about each other's cultures.
Sayonara!